other screw looks like.
Hello, Paul Case here. We're working on the 930 diesel. We broke this down when we was hauling the neighbor's hay last year, like on the last load. And what happened was, do you still have that part, the broken one? One of these, this is the valves that operate the hydraulics. And these two little deals right here are hooked to the linkage that goes to the levers up on the deck. And they have a end that sticks out on them. This is actually the part that broke. It goes around this rod right here. And it's supposed to have an end that sticks out on it about 1 inch right there and goes into the valve, and the end broke off from that one. And I went to a salvage and they charged me $20 for that little part, and I was happy to get it because ain't nobody else making any of those. But you can see that it's kind of meticulous to get that put in and then get it all lined back up at the right place. And in order to do this, the whole deal is you got to get the gas tank loose and pick the gas tank up. And you see he's got it turned up there. Scott's done all the work on this. Him and Dakota helped him a little. And then in order to do that, we had to get most fuel out of it, because there's 2 bolts that go in from the front to that. 2 in from the front and 2 in from the back. But we just about got it back together here. There's lots of little pieces that come apart with that. And we think we've got them all. Scott's been pretty meticulous about making sure he had it. And so it's a going back together today if I can find one of these little screws. That wouldn't happen to be the same as that one that's in that broken part, would it? And so that's one of the projects we got going on. The other one was the skid steer motor. We got our oversized piston to put in that cylinder right there on it that measured the same as that cylinder, being 30 oversized. And when I went to put it in there, it won't go. So somebody has took that, put a sleeve in that cylinder and machined it out, but they didn't machine it true all the way through. I got no way of measuring it down in the hole. And we've gotten that piston stuck in there where we couldn't go no farther. And so it's the point of having to tear everything off from it and then take it to the machine shop and then start over again with a lot of new parts. And I don't know, I just thought I'd go find one. So that's what I found. I found one salvage. And now it's not a turbo motor, and it does not have the places where I can add the turbo. It's got to have oil lines that go in down here into the block for a return, and a pressure oil line for the turbo. But this was in a tractor that had a wiring fire, and it still had paint on a lot of the hood. I just burned up a bunch of the trash on top of the motor, and you can see it got the injection pump pretty hot. And I've got my dirty old gloves on it, but burned off all the return lines on the injectors. But that's all right, because I'm gonna change all that anyway and put the stuff off from my skid loader motor on that. I've already been changing a bunch of stuff. I took a lot of the burned off parts from the front of it and changed. It is loose, it'll turn a little bit. And I'm probably gonna have to put the flywheel and all the back end on it to be able to turn around and get the timing marks show up, so I can change that injection pump. And I've got the motor mounts. It looks like all the huge stuff is just going to bolt right up. We even changed the water pump because it's a little different. Fan stuck out a little bit different, and different fan on it. That other one had a metal blade, and this one's got plastic blades. So my turbo skid steer is going to be a non-turbo skid steer, which means I'm going to have to do a little bit of rerouting. I may have to order a different exhaust manifold for it. These tractors had the opportunity to have the exhaust go up or down, and this one was set up down. I wish it was up. If it had been up, we could just make a hole in the screen above the motor and run the exhaust straight up. Wouldn't be impeded by anything, but it wasn't. It was down. And I thought maybe that the manifold would flip over, but it won't. it cuts off more than half of the hole on the exhaust ports. The bolts will go back in it, but it's not right. So I'm gonna try putting the exhaust manifold off from the turbo motor on it. Shall we dance? But it's got the turbo on the exhaust manifold, but it does go up. And I'm thinking maybe I can make me a piece. I don't know. I maybe can gut the turbo and just put a cover over that one side. Might be the easiest thing to do. It's got bolts on it right in there to where I can take the guts out of that and just cover that hole. That's what I'm going to try. We'll have to do a little bit of rerouting on the intake, but the intake is different because the intake I need, the one off from the skid steer, has both the fuel filters hanging on it and a pump and some other stuff. So got quite a little bit of changing yet to do before I'm ready to go. And then Ford's better ideas. Of course, it's got a little metal plate that goes on the back of it. It's that one right there, the little thin one. And then you've got to put the flywheel on. This is the flywheel. That thing weighs more than I can pick up. And so I'm not sure yet what Army's gonna put that on. And then when you get the flywheel on, you can bolt this hogshead on. That hogshead's got a seal in it. Oh, by the way, the flywheel goes on with bolts that look like that. And they're 7/16 is the size on them. And this kit doesn't have a 7/16. So I had to go buy a whole nother kit to get a 7/16 wrench to be able to fit it. I didn't have a 7/16 Allen wrench at all. Those are Allen wrench. Then there was the ones on this gear. That gear goes in that on the back, and then it's got 12 bolts that bolt around it, and that gear runs the 2 hydraulic pumps. And that gear had Allen wrench screws holding it on, and we run into that before. For some reason, the original motor on the thing had Allen wrench screws that went in the top 2 holes. And so we've gotten really versed in using Allen wrench sockets, hex key sockets, whatever you want to call them. But we're just about to get to a point of a lot of putting back together on that. So we're working on it. It's going to take us a few days yet to get it all put back together. I was surprised those motor mount bolts come loose because they were really yucky looking. I guess the grease protected the threads. But that's just a little something we got going on here at the Case Ranch. Things sawmill are kind of slow. We've been selling some firewood. Seems like lumber's a hard sell lately. And so hopefully we'll get some of this stuff back together and get my shop cleaned out a little bit more. I still got Zach's tractor in here. I haven't even touched it. Been thinking a lot about it. Got into a motor just like it. That little motor right there come out of a 3600, and this one's a 3000. So I guess we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. This is all about the 930 case hydraulic valves. A little part we broke. So maybe if somebody's having trouble with that and gets one of their valves, and by the way, the handle would just move back and forth, didn't do nothing. And had the loader all the way up when that happened, didn't you?
Yeah.
Scott was operating it when it happened, and he couldn't get the loader to go down. And you guys got the loader to go down and then loaded on trailer to bring it home, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah. And of course, we couldn't get the loader to go up then. It sat around for 2 months before we worked on it, and we took the spear off. But we couldn't get the loader to go up, and so we lifted it some and blocked it to get it to not be on the ground where we could move it around. Tractor runs fine, but when the hydraulics don't work, it don't work. So anyway, thanks for watching my video, and this has been tractor maintenance and look at what's going on with the skid steer. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.